Hello and welcome to careervids.com. My name is Richard McMahon, and during this presentation I'm going to teach you 10 essential tips for helping you to successfully pass the firefighter interview. Now, I spent 17 years in the fire service, during which I spent a period of time assessing people like you to join the fire service, both in terms of marking application forms, adjudicating the firefighter tests, and also sitting as a member on the firefighter interview panel. So these tips will go a long way to helping you succeed during the firefighter interview. Now, if you've got this far, you have certainly done extremely well. You don't need me to tell you that hundreds and hundreds of people apply to join for the fire service every year, and the competition is extremely fierce. A lot of people have certain perceptions about what a firefighter does. Many people's perceptions of a firefighter is that he or she will go running into burning buildings, saving people, climbing up ladders, and yes, part of the role does involve that, but the role is far wider now. It is far more diverse. Firefighters are engaged with their communities, and you need to have a thorough understanding of what the role of a firefighter actually involves before you go to the interview, because many people think they know what a firefighter does, but when it comes down to it, they really haven't got a thorough understanding. So make sure you learn about the role, because it has changed over the years. Okay, what you must do before you go to the firefighter interview, first thing, and this is the most important, is that you learn the qualities and attributes that are relevant to the role of a firefighter. Now, sometimes these are called PQAs, personal qualities and attributes, and you can find a copy of these on the website of the fire service that you are applying to join. The biggest tip that I can give you is to learn every single one of the PQAs and come up with more than one examples of where you match each particular PQA. So say, for example, one of the PQAs is commitment to excellence. That basically means that you should be committed to working to an extremely high standard, basically trying to achieve excellence in everything that you do. So a question you could get asked during the firefighter interview would be, can you give us an example of when you've carried out work to a very high standard? Or can you give us an example of when you've been committed to excellence in a working environment? And what you should do is provide evidence of where you can actually match that, and you've already done that in a previous role, because basically if you can do it, or you've already done it before, then you are far more likely to be able to duplicate that success in the role and the career of a firefighter. So tip one is learn the qualities and attributes that are relevant to the role, but more importantly, come up with lots of evidence of where you match each particular PQA. The second tip is to go and visit a fire station. Okay, go and visit a fire station in your local community, in the fire service that you're applying to join. And the reason why I say that is because what you want to do is to learn about the working day of a firefighter. Find out what he and she does, find out about the shift system that they're working, also how they engage with the community, and also the kind of training and familiarization visits that they will do on a day-to-day basis. Because you're going to get asked the question at interview, what does a firefighter do? What is the role of a firefighter? And yeah, you can learn it on paper, you can read the job description and the person specification, but far better to go on a fire station and talk to serving firefighters to find out what he or she does during the day. I would also recommend not just visiting one station, but visiting another station within the county that you're applying to join. So go to a couple of different divisions or sectors. So when you go to the interview, you can say, well, I've not just been to one fire station, I've been to two or three, to find out what they do in different areas of the county, and that will give you a far more diverse knowledge and understanding. You should also be aware of your own community. Okay, think about the makeup of your community and what the problems are in your community. Now, you can do that by reading local papers. So what you could do is get a local paper. They normally come out once a week, and you could find out about the kind of incidents that are going on. You might see that in a certain area there might be a number of rubbish fires or vehicle fires or accidents in the area. So think about your community. What is it like? What are the problems in your community, and how might the fire service be affected by them? For example, I live in the county of Kent, and in Kent there are a large number of major road networks. Okay, one of those examples is the M20, and on the M20 motorway you have a lot of vehicles, a lot of traffic coming through, and obviously they get a number of incidents. The fire service have to tend there, road traffic collisions, vehicle fires, and that can be quite difficult sometimes because some of those vehicles are from foreign nationalities, so therefore it's hard to communicate with the driver because they may not speak English. So that's one of the problems in the community that our fire service in Kent may come across. So think about your community and the different kind of things that the fire service might come across. Learn about the fire service you're applying to join, okay? And you can do that predominantly by going on the website of the fire service that you want to join. Have a look around their website, find out how many fire stations there are, find out who's in charge of the divisions, who's in charge of the fire service, find out what they're doing in relation to community safety. Okay, do they fit smoke alarms in people's homes? Have there been any success stories? Live and breathe the fire service before you join it. Think carefully about why you want to become a firefighter, because there's a big chance that the interviewer will say to you, okay, tell me why you want to become a firefighter. Now, everybody in the past used to say, well, I want to become a firefighter because I want to save life and I want to make a difference. You know, yeah, that's okay, but try and think about it more in depth. Think about the community element of it. I can remember when I joined the fire service, I responded in a manner that said, well, I want to do something where I can make a big difference in the community and help people who aren't as fortunate as me. And that might be educating the public in terms of helping them understand the effects of fire, teaching them, going out to schools, teaching the children so when they grow up they are more responsible, and that way you can reduce the number of fires. Yes, I would enjoy the element of going out to operational incidents, but I would enjoy more making a difference to my community. That's the kind of response that I would give. Provide lots of evidence to match the PQAs, and I've already mentioned this during the first part. Provide lots of evidence. Anybody can say, yes, I'm a good team worker, or yes, I'm committed to excellence, or yes, I'm a good communicator. But actually backing it up with evidence is a different thing. Write down on a sheet of A4 paper all of the personal qualities and attributes that are relevant to the role of a firefighter, and then provide evidence of when you've been in actual situations that you can match each specific one. And a great way to respond to these kind of questions is to use a STAR method, and you'll find a video on the STAR method at careervids.com, and that's basically writing down your responses and formalizing them in the manner of S, what is the situation, so explain what the situation is, T for task, tell the panel what the task was that you had to do, then A for action, tell the panel what action you took and what action other people took, and then finally R, tell them what the result was following your actions. Okay, and that's a good way to actually make your response organized, and you will score higher in the quality of effective communication. Also, think about your strengths. Think about what you're good at. Yes, firefighters do need to be physically fit and physically strong, but they also have to have strength of mind. You can imagine the type of incidents that they have to go through. I mean, some of the jobs that I've been through over the years, unbelievable. And it's the same for lots of firefighters out there. You know, you have to have a real strength of mind for some of the things that you will see and some of the things that you will go through. You know, are you a confident person? Are you resilient? Do you have the strength of character that you can put your hand up when you are wrong and say, yes, I've made a mistake, I'm sorry, but I'm going to improve? That is strength of character. Somebody who can recognize their weaknesses. So also think about your weaknesses, and what I would suggest you do is have a look at the training course that you will go through once you're successful and pass the interview. You can probably find that out by contacting, you know, when you go to a fire station, you can ask the firefighters, what kind of training will I go through on the training course? I'll guarantee there'll be something in there in the training course that you're going to struggle with. You know, one thing that I was really good at fitness, extremely fit. I could get up to level 15 on the bleep test easily, but one thing that I struggled with on my course was actually calculations for pumping, you know, sort of water flow and hydraulics, that kind of stuff. So I knew that I had to learn and work harder at that, but I didn't mind saying at interview, my weakness is that I will struggle with the hydraulics and the water calculations, but what I'm doing about it in the meantime is this. I'm getting myself ready. I've got myself some books on the subject. So it's alright recognizing your weaknesses, but make sure you're doing something about them. Okay, so think about why you would make a great firefighter. And when responding to a question of that nature, I would again get a copy of the personal qualities and attributes and say, one of the great qualities of a firefighter is to overcome any kind of situation, is to work as part of a team. And I believe I would be a great team worker because I'm good at communicating, I'm good at supporting the other team members, and I'm good at being focused on the goal. And I'm also good at reflecting on what I've done in the past and working towards improving myself. Now finally, work on your interview technique. Okay, I don't cover it during this video, but again, if you go to careervids.com, you can get a video on interview technique and improving yourself, because the interview technique is very important. You're going to go to the interview dressed in a formal outfit. You're not going to go and sit down in the interview chair until invited to do so. You're not going to fidget. You're going to be respectful to the interview panel. Okay, so all of those 10 essential elements will help you to prepare for the firefighter interview. So as I say, go along to careervids.com. You'll find loads of information about becoming a firefighter and other careers. And yeah, my name's been Richard McMahon, and thank you very much for watching.